everyone. Welcome to yet another session under the series of workshops going on in association with HackNITP 4.0. This workshop is all about GitHub, GitHub for student developers. I'm your host Pragati Verma, and today we have Mr. Arkodyuti Saha as our guest to share his knowledge and insights about GitHub. He's currently working as an education community manager at GitHub. The designation itself describes him that he has always been focusing on developers' education. So let's see what he has today for us. And sir, let me transfer it to you now without wasting any more minute of the audience to share your insights on GitHub. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Pragati. Hey everyone, nice to meet you all virtually. Hope you all are doing well, safe from your home, streaming in part of this HackNITP hackathon that's happening. Once again, big shout out to all the organizers for today's hackathon and all the workshops. I'm pretty sure all of you must be making the most use out of this. And I wish you all a happy hacking for this entire hackathon that's coming up. I think today, we'll go a little brief on all things that is it for, a student on GitHub. So I'll take a moment and quickly share my screen. Let me know if my screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it was.
Perfect. So once again, I'm Orko, like the education community manager here at GitHub, and a big part of my job is to help student developers. So first things first, like if I have to say why students, because for GitHub, they are very special. And a big reason why we do so much and what we do so much for GitHub student developers is we do two things ideally. We equip student developers with all the tools and resources that a student needs to build awesome projects, help them, in building up a lot of tools and resources, or maybe, fast track their careers as well while they are in their learning phase of your could be their engineering, or could be beyond that, or could be doing a school project even. The other thing that we do is we engage a lot with student developers with a lot of these events and trainings that we have. And of course, a good way to example or understand this is this suite that we have. Overall, when we talk about GitHub education, it's ideally what we say is like the global campus. But what is it like when we say we equip and engage? We have something called as the student developer pack. That's cute yellow bag that you see out there. It's pretty much I would say it has over 80 plus tools that ideally a student needs to build awesome projects. You could be sitting at a hackathon wanting to build an app, or maybe you could be making a project for your say research, or you could be doing something as a fun project, experimenting or playing with stuff. You might require something like something to from a cloud service point of view. There's DigitalOcean, there is a lot of tools. You might be wanting to play around with some APIs. There's Twilio for that. You might be wanting to play around some with databases. There's MongoDB for that. So all of that a student ideally needs to build awesome projects, that student developer pack. Then we also have something for the broader education community. Like when we say GitHub education, it's also for say teachers, it could be educators, could be your faculty. So there's something called as a teacher toolbox as well for folks who are teaching. The other thing is also that green board that you see, that's the classroom. And again, it helps teachers and educators run assignments, manage assignments, do all of that that's required to run probably a CS class. How do we engage? We have awesome programs. That Flank is probably one of our flagship programs, I would say. That's the campus experts, and big round is pretty much, I would say, these are our community leaders on campuses doing a lot of stuff. Could be supporting or helping other students mentor, running a lot of community events, hackathons, supporting, doing a lot of engagement and speaking sessions. So yep, they do a lot of job. The other stuff that we have is the GitHub Campus program. That tent that you see, one, I think a lot of campuses that you see around is part of the GitHub Campus program as well. We also have the advisor program, which is again for teachers or educators who are our community leaders. They are part of the advisors. And then we have externship. That's a career acceleration program or fellowship program for students, part of campus programs. So where do you find all of this? That's pretty much all on GitHub Education. That's like the hub, I would say. You see, you want to know about what is it for a student, you find it on education.github.com. You want to know what is it for a journey for a faculty or a teacher, that's again on the same. So ideally, if we have to break down a journey for anybody, you as a student who is trying to explore about GitHub, you would do few things. Like you would want to know that who's the nearest community person that I can get connected to. Could be a campus expert. You would be wanting that, okay, I want to accelerate my journey, try to understand more about, say, web development, or I would want to understand that, okay, how does APIs work? There are shows or streams happening part of global campus where you might find those content readily available. So yep, it's ideally the suit that you would want to get started. Like I mentioned about student developer pack, it has a lot of tools and resources that you would want to literally leverage while you are building projects, while you're out there probably trying to build something cool as well. But yeah, a big part of this is something that you can always continue to throughout this, especially your career as well. Talking about campus experts, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, these are the folks who lead the community. They could be one of your friends or one of your community region, and find one of the folks from your region as well. So these applications open twice a year, and guess what, it's open right now. So if you are someone who's interested in exploring or is interested in building good communities, running an amazing community of student developers out there in your campus, and you think you might need some help from GitHub, I think this is where GitHub comes in. Like we are here to support community leaders, student community leaders who are doing awesome job in their campuses. And a big part definitely goes in where a lot of resources come in, a lot of trainings come in, and definitely a lot of swags for sure. So talking about campus program, so a lot of educators, a lot of folks who are part of campus program majorly are part of campus program for some of these benefits. Like they get hands-on experience from our trainings, and a lot of trainings of workshops could be on Git and GitHub, or maximizing use of GitHub in their educational curriculum, for instance, maybe using classrooms or code spaces. All of that comes in for part of the resource and training for campus programs. The other piece is also making sure all these campus program universities maximize or leverage the most use of GitHub by using GitHub Enterprise Cloud or Enterprise Server, with a lot of free seats definitely for majority of the university departments. So moving on, like that's what's happening in a nutshell overall, and what is there probably across for anybody and everybody part of education on GitHub. But what's happening in India? You must be wondering. A big flagship program that we have is externship, and we just closed the second cohort, in fact, of externship, where we had 27 plus partner organizations, 13,000 plus students proposals who actually submitted these proposals to get internship offers. And guess what, a good chunk of students are getting started to contribute to open source, not just while they're in college, but also getting a full-time or internship offers working in these organizations. And you see, some of the best organizations that you would be wondering are getting to be part of this, and it offers you a healthy stipend for you to get started working with these organizations, including Cred, FanPay, Tygraph, Suborbital, Apprite, and in fact GitHub too. So yeah, we open up applications twice again a year for externships in India. I'm sure if you are one of those students who is part of a campus program, this might be something that you might be wondering, that how can you connect your that gap of contributing to open source and then getting a job in open source. This is it. So next time we open applications, maybe in summer, you should definitely log on to externship.github.in to find more. And for folks, I mean, if you are someone from India, definitely trying to know what's happening with open source projects, what's happening with our programs specific to the region. We have a GitHub India public repository, github.com/github/India. All things that we have with education side or startup side of things, or for the broader developer community, you'll get to know more about it out here in the India public repository. And when we talk about collaboration at GitHub and collaboration with the community, I think discussions is definitely one of those great ways for folks who are exploring about open source projects, exploring about what to probably build, exploring or connecting with the broader community. I think discussions is the space, and a lot of students, a lot of developers, a lot of people, individuals have been leveraging discussions, part of probably our India repository itself, to connect with the broader community. So yeah, if you're building something cool, want to show and tell, or you are wanting to collaborate or ask some questions, you have discussions to do that. It's one step for folks out there in the community to connect more with the broader community again. A big question definitely pops in every time when we talk about open source, and especially for student developers, is why and how one, especially as a student, can contribute to open source. A big reason why a student would do is, you might be building, you might be using some software, you might be using an app. You can definitely take that effort to improve if the code is available. Probably if you are using, say, Firefox, if the code is open source, you could improve that as well. So you might be thinking that this add-on button or this add-on feature could be something which can help me do my work even more efficiently. I mean, wondering if the code is available, you could do that. So yeah, it helps you ideally to fast track, or I would say improve the work in a better way if the code is available. So yeah, you can improve the softwares that you ideally rely on to make it better. The second thing is also, a lot of open source contribution helps a student or any individual in general to improve their own personal skills. Ways of contribution could be across multiple things. Like, you could be someone helping with code, you could be someone trying to help with design, you could be someone helping with documentation. So your interest can definitely get better as you contribute. And that's the good part about communities. You don't end up just consuming, you end up contributing, which helps you increase your own capabilities, increase your learning curve, and helps you adapt to the newer stuff as well. So yeah, you end up updating your skills, and you're improving skills that you already have. The other thing is also, when you're connected with a broader community, especially with so much open source communities being there, you get to meet a lot of people. And I mean, as students, you would have friends who you would remember maybe for those 4 years, or you would have professors who you would be getting educated from for those 4 years or 3 years, or during your course in your universities. But probably folks in the open source community, they could be a lifelong friends forever. I mean, even after your university days is over, you would ideally know them, or stay in touch with them. So yeah, that's definitely. And you get to meet a lot of people who might be of your own likely interest, and that could be discussing a lot of stuff that of your interest. Could be some fun activity that you would want to do, or maybe streaming on some, playing games or something. Like, that's totally fine. Like, you get to meet more and more friends and make friends online. That's pretty much possible. The other cool thing is, I think a big piece that I have seen, and a lot of people agree to, is mentorship is one of the biggest reasons why people continue to contribute to open source. There could be folks that inspire you, there could be folks who help you, and it's a good space for folks to actually learn and explore and help others. So it's definitely one of those areas where everybody gets to mentor people, everybody gets to learn from a lot of people. So it's a connected community that we have. And the most important piece that we have, above all, while you are contributing to open source, is as an individual you get to learn a lot of people skill, because it helps you grow, not just in your open source world of things, or getting better in open source contribution, but as a person also you improve. Like, it helps definitely. So how do you do that? Like I mentioned, you could be someone who could be writing code, improving the software that you enjoy building or love working on, or you could be someone designing stuff. It could be on the UI UX piece of work. It could be something like, if there are some conferences around, communities around, you would want to help them with designing stuff, posters or stuff. That's totally fine as well. The other piece is also a lot of community leaders, community members do a lot of evangelism and advocacy with communities as they are part of the communities. So big piece of that job is definitely events. A lot of communities you see has grown over time with a lot of events happening. Could be online, offline, hybrid, totally. But that's too done by some contributor. So equal respect for folks who do that. So if you're someone who loves running these kind of amazing workshops and sessions and amazing events, could be hackathons for instance for students, that's a job as well as a community you do. The fourth thing is writing could be in terms of content, could be in terms of documentation, and it's a good way to kickstart your journey. If you're someone looking to you know get started contributing to open source, documentation is definitely one of those great ways. And you would, if you find across even on GitHub with a tag of GitHub, I mean, like good first issue, you would find a lot of these available projects, which is good first issues are mostly documentation. So yep, that's something that you can always pick up. The fifth thing is help people and answer questions. You would be answering questions, or answering questions on mentoring people on discussions on GitHub, or could be in some other community forum. That's to supporting, helping, or developers. So if you consider someone that you don't want to go out there and be vocal, talking or contributing to the community by speaking at events, maybe in real or online, that's totally fine. You would be someone answering questions as well on a forum. That's a way of contribution as well. So yeah, I think the good part of open source communities in general, or as someone who wants to get started with open source contribution, you have a way to do it, and possibly for anybody and everybody. The final thing, a lot of people, especially students, ask that what's something that I should do while I apply for a job, I apply for the next internship. Maybe have a great readme profile documenting all the work that you're doing as a developer, or as someone, as an open source contributor. And I'm not saying it has to be always a fancy, but yeah, like this is a great profile by one of the folks from the community, Pulkit. He's a student. He's still a school student, and he's doing some great job as a student developer. So I think a lot of these students are doing it, and it's ideally a great way. I mean, today in startups and a lot of organizations consider your GitHub profile to be on ideally your CV. So yep, it makes sense to make sure you have a good profile readme. So next time if you're going out, probably signing up for the next internship, it makes sense to have a good profile readme, so that the person who's actually reviewing through your projects and your contributions gets to see what you have done throughout. So, yep, that's pretty much about today's session. And I hope everyone could learn something from today's session. But however, if there's any questions, anything, I would be definitely happy to answer them. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. But then, thank you so much once again. Take care, everyone. Cheers. Bye.
Well, so all right, guys, that was it from Mr. Arkodyuti Saha. He's again He's a very great man, very great influencer, and you know, a lot of applause for him, for the student education community manager at GitHub. And yeah, for the registrations, we have something important to share with you, that the registrations for the HackNITP are closing tonight at 9 p.m. Right? So we have about just 40 minutes left. So register right away. Register through DevFolio. Right? Go away. I mean, with all the enthusiasm. And yeah, GitHub is also a sponsor in our event, and we would like to thank GitHub for that sponsorship too. And looking forward to have all of you guys, right? All of you guys in our further sessions, and all of you guys in our hackathon. Yep, the josh should be high. Okay, so this is me, Shivam Jha, and we are signing off. Bye bye.